live stream of the Cabot bond issue debt increasing meeting. This is an attempt to increase the debt in the city of Cabot by a tune of $60 million. You can use the live stream itself later on. I'm going to use YouTube at first. Arkansas Legal, YouTube, Gab, Parlor. Oh, shoot, I forgot my flyers again. Why do I always do that? I think I may have some in my car, but I'm going to get them to. Now I'm going to try to get this involved. Well, my computer's trying to log me on. Take it. It's taking forever. You don't have to talk about to be right. That's all the problem. No, will you quit asking me? Will you just... Basically, investment when it fails. Boy, I'm getting that's such a good deal. That's such a good deal. That's such a good deal. Great volunteers and personal investment. This place is changing.
Test. Hey, Staley, can you hear this? Talk to Mike.
Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. One more time. Test 1, 2.
Oh, come on. Liking the easy music going on here. What the hell are you doing? Shit. Get the hell out of my face, you sack of shit. What the hell do you think you're doing? Get out of my face, you sack of shit. What do you think you're doing? Bullshit. You just threatened me. You just threatened me. No, I don't want to. All right, folks, I'm trying to post on Gab, and it's giving me all kinds of problems. I may do a Facebook live stream in a little bit. I don't know where they got I don't know what's with the fancy, nice music, ambiance music to come in here and make everybody feel good. Just like I wanted.
All right, it's 6:30. If you want to go ahead and take a seat, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Looks like we have some flag difficulties. Okay, if everyone would stand with me, Brandon Hillenberg, if you would lead us in prayer, and Matt Weber, if you follow with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me. Dear Lord, thank you for this wonderful day you've given us, Lord. Lord, I just ask that you'll be with city, state, and this nation's leaders, and we make decisions that affect our community, Lord. Lord, forgive us for when we fail you. These things I ask. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Brandon. Roll call, please, Tammy.
Long. Here. Jones.
Here.
Red.
Here.
Hillenberg.
Here.
Coe. Here. Weber.
Here.
Reed.
Here.
Wayman.
Here. All is present. Next item, approval of minutes from our last meeting. We had two sets of minutes, one from February 22nd and one from March 1st. We will take those separately. Do I have a motion for approval?
Make a motion to approve.
I got a motion from Stephen Redd, second from James Reed, to approve the February 22nd, 2021 minutes. Any discussion? All in favor, roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Long.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Red.
Yes.
Hillenberg.
Yes.
Coe. Yes. Reed.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Wayman.
Yes.
Thank you, passed 8-0. Next set of minutes,
Make a motion to approve March 1st, 2021 minutes.
I got a motion from Ed, a second from Matt Weber, to approve the March 1st, 2021 minutes. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Long.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Red.
Yes.
Hillenberg.
Yes.
Coe. Yes. Reed.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Wayman.
Yes.
Passes 8-0. Next item is read ordinances and resolutions by title only. Can I have some action?
Make a motion that we read, ordinances by title only
I'll second.
And resolutions?
and resolution.
Thank you. Motion by James, second by Brandon. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Long.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Red.
Yes.
Hillenberg.
Yes.
Coe. Yes. Reed.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Wayman.
Yes.
Passes 8-0. The next item is city council old business. We have 3 items. Item A, Tammy.
Ordinance number 6 of 2021, an ordinance to amend Article 4 of the Unified Development Code, and for the purposes, third reading.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance 6 of 2021. And I'll second.
I got a motion from Ed, a second from James Reed to adopt ordinance number 6 of 2021. Discussions? Seeing none, all in favor, roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Wayman.
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Red.
Yes.
Hillenberg.
Yes.
Coe. Yes. Reed.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Passes 8-0.
Mayor, we need no further action on that.
Thank you, sir. Next item, item B, Tammy.
Ordinance number 8 of 2021, an ordinance to rezone part of the southeast quarter, southwest quarter, section 19, Campground Road, City of Cabot, Lono County, Arkansas, from R-1 to R-2, amending the land use plan, declaring an emergency, and for other purposes. Second reading.
Okay, this is just a second reading for those in the audience. I know some might be here to discuss this, but since we're not going to the third reading, there will be no discussion, but you can still discuss the item at community input. So, item C.
Ordinance number 9 of 2021, an ordinance to rezone part of the south one half, section 19, South Pine Street, City of Cabot, Lonoke County, Arkansas, R-1 to C-2, General Commercial District, amending the land use plan, declaring an emergency, and for other purposes. Second reading.
Seeing no further action, this ordinance is the same as the one above it. If you are here to discuss this ordinance, you may do so in community input. Next item, any other old business, council, before we go to new business? Seeing none, Tammy, item 8A.
Resolution number 14 of 2021, a resolution approving the destruction of certain outdated documents of the Cabot Fire Department and for other purposes.
I have a motion, we adopt ordinance number 14 of 2021. I'll second.
I got a motion from Ed, a second by James, to adopt resolution number 14 of 2021. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Long,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Red,
Yes.
Gillenberg,
Yes.
Coe,
yes,
Reed,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Wayman.
Yes.
Passes 8-0. Next item, 8B, please, Tammy.
Resolution number 15 of 2021, a resolution designating and declaring certain services to be professional services for the purposes of ACA 19-11-801, HLE, and applicable sections of the city code and for other purposes.
I have a motion, we adopt resolution number 15 of 2021. I'll second.
Got a motion by Ed, a second by James, to adopt resolution number 15 of 2021. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Weber,
Yes.
Wayman,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Red,
Yes.
Gillenberg,
Yes.
Coe,
yes,
Reed.
Yes.
Thank you, Tammy. Passes 8-0. Item 8C, please.
Resolution number 16 of 2021, a resolution amending the 2021 operating budget, appropriating the various amounts herein and for the purposes.
Okay, council, this was the last minute addition, due to the fact that, we have a lot of projects coming up, and we just missed putting it in last time, 2 weeks ago when we met. Basically what this is to start a construction services division for Cabot, over the next 2 or 3 years, looking at the bond issue as well, and looking at the repair of the sidewalks in town. What we like to do for the amount that we put into the resolution is to hire 3 people, buy a work truck and a concrete mixer that pulls behind the work truck and various tools. We will also be looking for people that does framing work, floor work, any type of repair on job work. As you know, all of our buildings are aging and we need someone to keep those up. Currently right now, we also have 7 projects going. One at the Pedic Center, one at the Health Department, one at the library, one at City Hall, Animal Services, Police Department, and Fire Department. Different upgrades that need to be done. You know, we have that water damage at the first of the year. We may be able to get some of our guys, if we can get this passed, to do a lot of that work. We feel also, for instance, we have a fence that has to be put up at the new property we bought on 367. The fence estimate was $27,000, and 20 of that was labor. We can let our labor do that. So there's different things going on, and plus the sidewalks really need fixed in town, and we don't have the labor at the street shop to be able to do it. So basically, it's gonna be using that sidewalk fund money to get our sidewalks up to where they need to be. They've been overlooked for years, we need to get those fixed. So this is what this resolution pertains to.
Mayor, I make a motion that we adopt resolution 16 of 2021.
Second.
I got a motion from James, a second from Ed to adopt resolution number 16 of 2021. Any further discussions? Seeing none, all in favor, roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Reed,
Yes.
Wayman,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Red,
Yes.
Gillenberg,
Yes.
Cabot. Yes.
Passes 8-0. Resolution 8D, please, Tammy.
Resolution number 17 of 2021, a resolution to authorize the mayor and city clerk treasurer to use the Community and Economic Development Fund to pay for a community economic development director to amend the 2021 annual operating budget and for other purposes.
Mayor, I motion to adopt resolution 17 of 2021.
Second.
I got a motion from James, a second from Ed to adopt resolution number 17 of 2021. Any discussions?
Mayor, I don't want to speak for James, I'll speak for myself, but I think I know what he's going to say as well. We absolutely support this, the Community and Economic Development Committee absolutely supports this. It's what the money's there for. It's what was set aside to be used, the continuation of the contract that was unfortunately had to be terminated because of changing personnel. It is the right thing to do. It is the money that is there for this very item. The thing is, it's going to be, we hope under you, just a different, same thing, just a different way to approach it. I absolutely support it.
Any further discussion? All in favor, roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Coe? Yes. Reed,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Wayman,
No.
Long,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Red,
Yes.
Gillenberg.
Yes.
Passes 7-1. Any other new business, council? Seeing none, we go into community input. Now's the time. If you have anything you'd like to discuss in front of council, please do so. Just keep in mind, we're going into a town hall after this, discuss the bond issue. So if it relates to that, you may want to hold it till then, but you're free to still come up and do it if you like.
Good evening. I'm James Sullivan. I live on Langton Drive Circle area.
Could you use the mic, sir?
Is it on? Hello?
It's on, but it's too short.
I think you've got to turn it on.
Hello?
It's on. The people in Facebook, I can hear you, but the people in Facebook can't, that's why.
I'm James Sullivan. I want to talk about ordinance 8 of 2021 about rezoning on Campground Road, all right? I live in the adjoining neighborhood, all right, in Langton Circle and Drive area. So, right now, those are residential homes, and this is going to put in rental homes, they're duplexes, all right? And I don't think that's the proper use for the land in that area, all right? We have beautiful trees that are knocked down to put these houses in. The road's quite narrow, there's no sidewalk on that road that goes from Pine Street to the park, all right? It needs to be a sidewalk first before you put any more development in that area. There's also, along that road, Campground Road, there's an open ditch that's not filled in, or covered over. So it's dangerous even to try to walk in that road right now, all right? So if you want to go anywhere, so I think that this is not the proper use for this land, all right? Especially since the neighborhood that I live in is currently listed as a flood area. And more development will just create more flooding, and will flood the park, will flood everything else. So I really would think that the council should think seriously and hard about denying this and making this residential homes that it should be. There aren't any homes in there. Leave it R1 versus multifamily. Keep property values up. Just protect our neighborhoods, protect Cabot. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your comments. And council, please remember, next meeting when we vote, is comments for ordinance 8 of 2021.
Thank you.
My name is Reagan, I'm a ninth grade senior in Girl Scout troop, and troop 689 from Cabot. I'm here to announce some good news. Our cookie season has been extended by 2 weeks due to the bad weather we received last month. The final due date of sales is now March 28th. The final this weekend and next weekend in the Cabot area for the www.diamond.org and type in your zip code. The same website will also link you to the tree provider I think from. However, we'll be sure that we have the bakery, shipping, handling, and supply. This is great for anyone who prefer no contact. With cookie sales, I have learned many lifelong skills starting at a very young age. Decision making, goal setting, people skills, money management, and business ethics. 100% of the persons stay within our council when it comes to firm true values, uniforms, membership, events, handouts, trips, community service projects, and so much more. My troop is saving our trooping members now for a few years, taking a trip to Disney World in our high school senior year, and so thankful to be a part of the nationwide sisterhood that teaches us to be girls with courage, confidence, and character, and make all the better place. Thank you.
Thank you, Brady. Hey, if you would, good job. Can you give that gentleman right there your list of what you just said? Or send it to him? Jeffrey. I saw him writing vigorously and he couldn't get all the information. Okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, everybody. I just had a quick question for everybody. A couple months ago, you all rescinded an ordinance that had to do with trailer parking in the city. And then the mayor said he was going to stop enforcing anything with that while we were getting something else set up. And the enforcement would have been for the previous ordinance that was in effect. I just wanted to know the status. Where are we on it?
I believe it's still in research. Is that not correct, Laura? Yes.
Mayor, if I could, I've talked with Jim Von Hodlin. The city of Searcy had a modified, it's a city maintenance code that they've added theirs in. There's not an easy fix to this that fits everybody to make everybody happy. But we're going to look at what we can to modify that. It has been, an ordinance has been passed to nullify the original ordinance. We are on the previous ordinance now. So it does give us a little bit of leeway to go in and clean or to prepare a camper or something for 7 days. But in the long term, we want to find something, because there will be people that will move it just a little bit and call it good. But yes, we are. There is. It's not a one size fits all. It's a little more complex strategy.
So has there been any progress, or are we still where we were that evening?
It has been. Ben, I don't know if you've got any additional. I know that I've got information from the city of Searcy on what they're doing. I've talked to several of the planners on what's available. I've talked to James Walton, I've talked to Jim Munn, and I've talked to the city planner, Carmen Garland's working with municipal services.
Thank you, James. Appreciate it. Anyone else?
Mayor, I've had a couple of phone calls over the last couple of weeks asking about the Crown Metal building culvert situation. Could someone please share any updates on what's going on with that property?
We've written the bid documents, but they haven't been advertised yet, correct? Does Ben have them in his office? Ben's looking at them. See, it's a complicated deal because it's gonna be two different things where you would tear down the building and then you sell the metal. And so we're figuring out how the best way to write that, but it's been written in Ben's office to review, and hopefully soon we'll be able to post it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I told the folks that I would ask the question so that if they were watching or in attendance.
That's a good question. Thank you, sir. Anyone else before we adjourn and take a little break before we start the town hall? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I got a motion from Matt. Was that you, Ron? Second from Ron. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Adjourned at 5:30. I'm sorry, 6:51. We will start back at 7 o'clock.
Hey, Rhonda.
How are you?
Kenny Wallace. Nice to meet you.
Yes, I was hoping you would be here. We had 6 people that was begging me to get you here tonight. They were begging me. So I told them, I said, well, I messaged him and told him that they are going to be discussing the bond. Tonight, we are throwing our 2 cents to the council to see if they're going to put it on a ballot or not. They're voting tonight to see if they put it on a ballot, and I was really hoping you'd be here.
Yep. I'm live streaming on YouTube. I sent a link to you, but then I'm going to put it on Facebook in a little bit. We'll probably get more viewers on there.
Okay.
And I was going to try to do some interviews with folks. I don't know if you were someone you know would want to do interview now or not.
I don't know if they have time.
9 break, yeah, 9 minutes.
I know 4 people that would do an interview.
Okay.
Want to do interviews. And our partnership is 110% against this law.
Oh, wow.
So,
Usually when they do these, they try to line up and twist the arm holes. So
they are not happy because it's set up to give $1,200,000 to the police. I think, if I'm not, I'll have to look at my paper, I think $7 million to the fire department. No, I'm sorry, 3.
it's on the wish list.
Yeah, but our police department is in such dire need of some, they're still running on analog radios.
Yeah, I know you can.
Yeah, and Chief Davis needs so much, but they're wanting to build this $7 million.
Exactly. That's what they do. That's exactly. I see that every time I saw it in my seat in Florida Rock. They had leaks in the roof, and they were the AC is falling apart. And the first question was going to ask, well, why did you have a budget that you're supposed to allot to the police and fire anyway? Why was this allowed to happen?
Right.
And then, but then they wanted to build so many $1 million on a millennial complex. That's why.
It makes no sense to me. And there's one standing behind you over there leaning on the door, and that's Mike Wheeler. He's the one that's director of our animal shelter. And he's buddied up with the mayor to get the mayor back.
Who are the state legislatures from here? Because I know a few of them.
Evans.
Les Evans?
No. Oh my God. Starts with a B. I want to say it's Ben. the lady over there in the red pants, she's our current president of the Chamber of Commerce. She has left and she is now going to be over chambers for the state.
Wow.
And she is the one that's tight-lipped with all of our She is major, big time conservative. So she's really staying in touch.
Randy Zook is with he's been pushing for all kinds of tax increases. He stopped the effort to pass the special elections last time. There is a Senate effort. Mark Johnson with West Little Rock is pushing for that. I don't know when he's going to introduce it. I asked him multiple times. He hasn't done yet, but there is a Senate version of the House bill to get rid of special elections. As soon as he posts that, we'll try to get everybody to let folks know.
Anytime at all that citizens can stand up for, as far as state tax increases, stuff like that, please text me. I have multiple people. Cabot used to be a Democratic town. It's not anymore. It is full of big-time conservative Republicans. There's a lot of people in this town that would get elected. So anytime we have that going on,
I have a rough draft of a flyer that I use. I base this upon one that I used to defeat another tax increase before. But of course, I don't have the dates set yet. But you can see a little bit of what.
Yes.
And it gives some of the goodies. I don't like the $20 million for internet infrastructure, since it should be done by these internet companies. And I have mentioned the regional monopoly Suddenlink. As far as you know, they're still the only one in here. And then the animal shelter, and then Parks and Rec. And then I was gonna think about maybe mentioning the wave pool, but I don't know. Like I said, the and then this says, your
people
Facebook.
are bucking on that so that also. They are really bucking on it.
Yeah, but
we had a pool on one of our roads and we shut it down and
yeah.
filled it in because nobody was going to it.
Yeah. Wild River Country is shut down. A lot of places shut down even before COVID. It was a stupid idea because you can't compete with the Memphis and Branson and no, people aren't going to think of Arkansas to go. They go to maybe walk on a trail, and they're not going to spend that much money on that. Me and my fiance, we go to trails all over the state. We don't spend money there.
That's what our kids do. We just got back from Mountain View. We went and stayed a week, and our kids all loaded up went to all the trails. That's what they do all this.
Yeah. But what you do is you get your groceries, and so you get up there so you don't have to go somewhere.
Right.
You might go to visit one restaurant or something. But, you're not going to spend all the money that they're thinking.
Yeah.
It never works. No.
But
right now I have your Facebook page as the Facebook group, but you can set up I can show you that this is an example of let's see if I can type it in before the computer's kind of gone slow, so let me try on my phone. But what I did was I set up campaigns against different tax increases. Like here's the one, the Pulaski County millage tax, and it had the flyer as a kind of the picture, and then I would give updates, and then I would kind of give a breakdown of.
I need to go on there and
Well, no, this is like from a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
This is an example of what you can do.
Okay.
There is one at a place called Mountain Pine. They're having a tax increase May 17th. It's a 4.8 millage. There could be a dozen more. I just don't know. But those are only two. This one and that one are only two I know about. But I kind of give it a big description there, and then I would add, photos and then let's see.
If you're looking at our council members, they're divided just by how they're divided. This is a plan over here. Here's one on Walker Goods and Greensburg. And it's kind of mayor wants.
And then here's an icon that you can put on any flyer that you can add. And then there's the pictures of the flyer. I would add events. And campaign for other folks as well.
Yeah.
And then here's a some quotes regarding taxes. And you can set up these events, you can set up these groups.
She's standing behind us, Ann, right here. She's the one that's gonna do she's creating our Facebook page for Against the Bond. And she got flagged, so the other day said, we're anti-against this bond, but you might want to wait until they have this meeting before you make a Facebook. So she's waiting until after this meeting.
Yeah, but
So,
yeah, I think people wait to see if they're going to actually do it.
yeah.
All right.
And my phone is on if you want to.
All right.
Hey, thanks everybody for coming out tonight. This is our second town hall meeting as it relates to the bond wish list. We're going to try to get that tidied up tonight, pretty close. So we'll have a final list and we'll have our final town hall on March 29th. Before we put on the ballot, then we'll have other town halls after that as we see needed before the vote. Our next one's going to be on March 29th. It's the 45th anniversary of the tornado hitting Cabot. So we're going to do it that night, cook some burgers, eat some food, gather with one another and talk about this issue and hear the state of the city before we do the town hall. So I invite everybody back out on March 29th, 2 weeks from today. 6:30. Okay. Basically, the bond list pretty much stayed the same. We have some differences here. But I have talked to Stevens, and we worked through some stuff with Moody's and other bond rating agencies. And we feel like, or he feels like, that we can do all these projects instead of cutting projects. He's going to be here on the 29th to discuss that as well, but he's assured me we're okay to proceed this way, depending on the public and what they think. So the first issue was the internet infrastructure, quality of life. It was $20 million. The results came out today. They were right on the money, $20,250,000. But I was told to add 10% because everyone's wanting fiber across the nation, and people installing it, of course, are wanting more. So if they figure with a 10% contingency, that's what we should ask for. So that's why I changed to 22. Road repair, overlays, and drainage. It still stayed at 16 million. Police equipment and firing range is just that. I added a firing range. It's an indoor firing range for our police, for their training. It's state of the art. It's $200,000. And we will house that at the training facility down a little bit lower. We'll get to that. Fire trucks stayed the same, $900,000. Fire and police training center, $3 million. It increased by 1.8. What we're adding to that as well is a fire and police training facility and a small fire station that will house the firing range, and it will be a fire and police center that will be on the north end of town down 367, hopefully. We're contracting with someone right now to get that land purchased, but I'll share that once they allow me to share it with you guys. Next item is tornado siren upgrades, still stay the same, $250,000. The next part is the new community services center, which that is it will be the animal support services center, a coffee shop, and a large food pantry for the needy. That will go in at the bottom. Buildings and land for city use. Vacant buildings purchased for the revitalization of downtown. We've been listening to you. We've been watching Facebook. We heard from you from the last town hall meeting. We're negotiating right now to buy the old Price Cutter building and the Sears building next to the library for library expansion. And we will redo that building and put in the community services animal services, coffee shop, and a food pantry. The food pantry, what we've talked about is Hope's Closet will be contracting with the city will own this. They will be contracting with us as a 501c3. Legally, we haven't worked out all the details, but they will come to this building, which will be 4 times bigger than their current building, and their current building will be used as a homeless shelter that they will take care of and not the city. So a lot of great things I think are happening. I think that could happen if y'all support that. Next item, community pavilion with bathrooms, still stay the same, $300,000. Last item, parks and rec projects, multi-use facility, baseball turf on fields reduced by 200. And the wave pool and non-inclusive program stayed the same, so basically 19.8 million. Some different pictures here. This is about the fire and training facility. As you see those circles over to your right, you'll see an orange circle. I know it's hard to see, but that would be our new coverage area for the north side of town. Our plans for this new station would be to eventually replace Station 3 if we could. We've also applied for a SAFER grant that we get 6 firemen paid for the next 3 years. If that's the case, then we could staff. If we wouldn't have any staffing increases, there would be no hit to our bottom line on salaries in the general fund, and we could better cover Cabot, and our fire rating would go from a 2 to a 1, which is the best, which would help people's insurances, especially commercial businesses. There's the trucks, tornado sirens, pavilion. Okay, here's the parks and rec pictures we had last time, but what we want to do is update y'all with a video that Travis Young prepared for us. He went and visited the Cape Girardeau facility.
No,
I'm going to play it for you now.
Trying to compete with the Cape Girardeau. There's no That's how I see this. So another more promo video stuff here.
Well, there you have it. The fun begins where the payment ends. Also, I've got some questions on Facebook here. Go ahead and throw out there. One lady wants to know, what about the flooding issues that affects our home? We have 16 million in drainage and overlays in our budget for the bonds. So I guess just let me know or call the office, let us know what neighborhood you are and see if we have yours already in our plan to do. Another question was, asking for a password. How would the city pay for the bond? That's with our sales tax that we currently have. There'll be no new tax. You know, the Cabot sales tax is 2%. 1% of that 2% goes to pay the bond. So whatever we collect goes towards the bond, whether it's the minimum payment or well above the minimum payment, which it always has been. We've paid more than the minimum payment. So 1%, even if we pay the minimum payment, that 1% goes to the bond. So they're projecting we pay these bonds off in, I believe, 14 years, 30-year bonds. So that's with no growth in Cabot. Last person said they love the food pantry idea and the homeless shelter. And that looks like it for right now. Also, I'll let you know about the refunding the bonds. You're going to get, and we'll prepare next time a slideshow of what the bond questions are going to look like on the ballot. The first question is refunding the current bonds and doing a bond issue. If this part doesn't pass, even if you said you wanted internet and it passed 90% to 10%, but the refunding of the bonds failed, then nothing passes. So the first question, basically, can we refinance the bond? So can we go from 5% to 3%? Can we save 2% on our current debt? Obviously, the answer is yes. So then it will go to the broadband, then it goes to the roads, then it goes to the drainage, then it goes to the police department, then it goes to the fire department, then it goes to tornado siren bonds, animal shelter improvement bonds, and parks and rec improvement bonds. It will be the questions. But we'll have those for you on the 29th and to release to the media that you can put in the paper. So that's a big thing that people don't understand. And you gotta say yes to that first question and then start voting from there if there's items that you want. Council, do you have any questions before we open up to the audience? Seeing none, audience.
They don't have a sign-in sheet, so I guess people are just gonna go random.
Well, thanks again to all of you for looking at those bond issues and some of the adjustments. I like what I saw in the adjustments up there. What is the bottom line cost? Is it still the same as it was? What's the bottom line cost now versus the $80 million from last meeting?
Let me think. It'd be 90 million because we said we're going to cut 10 million, but Stephen said we don't have to cut the 10 million.
So going up, then going up to, it was 80 million, now it's 90 million.
We had 90 million on the sheet last time. We said we had to cut 10 million,
Oh, I get you.
but I don't have to cut 10 million.
So we're at 90 million now. Okay. Again, I'll repeat what I said last time. We are in uncertain times. I don't have to tell anybody that right now. With the taxes are going up, the interest rates going up. I don't know if any of you got your taxes done. Mine cost me a lot more this year than it did last year without any significant change. So we're in a time that's a little bit uncertain nationwide with policies changing day by day. I would just ask that as we look at those things, just like I said last time I spoke, as we look at those items on there, that we don't get the Maserati, but we get the Chevrolet level of those things. Because it's so questionable right now, the economy and everything. The two things I want to speak, you mentioned the SAFER grant and the ISO rating. I want to clarify a couple things there. You said that the SAFER grant, there could be no hit on the budget, but there is. Initially, it comes in and you fund some people for a while, usually about 2 years, and then it comes back to the city, and it's completely funded by the city at that point. If they phase it in, so it started out, they pay a year, and then it phases in where the city paid everything. So the SAFER grant does cost the city in the end. And then the other thing, you mentioned the ISO rating. In the ISO ratings, you said that having that coverage area would bring us to a 1 rating versus a 2. What actually happens is that one of the numerous factors that are considered to move you toward the 1. It's not the only factor, and it's not a guarantee. It's based on the valuation from the insurance.
Very interesting.
We've already looked at all that.
But that's not what you said today. You looked at it.
I'm not gonna go into complete detail, but the overall gist is it goes to a 1. If you want me to come next time and speak everything I need to speak about that issue, I sure will.
If you want to be up front and.
I am up front.
Then that would be the thing to do. But those are the facts of those two.
Yeah.
But again, back to what we were talking about, I just think we ought to take a look and make sure that we're not getting out in front of ourselves with the funding of these things. Look at reasonable, not fancy versions, but the versions that we need. Thank you all for this. Have a great day.
Just want to let everybody know that's what our bond counsel does, Stevens and Friday Firm, the 2 best companies in the state, to tell us if it's okay, and it's okay. We got A+ ratings. Our city has not stifled growth since the 1970s. So we're okay with all that.
Interesting.
Good evening, my name is Naomi Bratton, and I am from 508 South Haven Avenue here in Cabot. I am the board president of HELP, which is the Housing Education Life Skills Program. And I am part of the movement that Mayor Kate referred to earlier when he spoke about the fact that we were going to have a municipal food pantry, and then later on homeless shelter as well. And so we wanted to come and talk to you tonight. This is my dear friend, Kimberly Butler. She's the founder and director of Hope's Closet and Pantry. And we have quite a bit of information we'd like to give you. All right, so I was at the last town hall meeting, and I listened and I read through all the information and everything, and let me say I was just stunned in a good way by all the wonderful things that Cabot has in store. I mean, we're making strides that, you know, when we moved here in 1975, I was here for the tornado, but when we moved here in 1975, I never would have thought that our city would have grown and have come to the position that it's in now, which is in a fantastic way. But looking at that list of possible expenditures, all the organizations are deserving of the proposed funding. Obviously, we need our police and fire to have every single thing that they need. The one thing that I did notice, however, is that there isn't any mention of funding that will invest in our people. 12% of our families in Cabot are 130% below the poverty level in the city of Cabot. The city of Ward is at 15%, and Austin is at 9%, just to put that into perspective. 130% below the poverty level. Our people need help. We have a very unique opportunity to establish a municipal food pantry and clothes closet here in Cabot. Our proposal is to unite our local churches and businesses to come together as a true community coalition whose goal is to serve those who are less fortunate in our community. As we join forces and pool our resources, we'll be able to serve our community much more efficiently than we can right now. Currently, a family in need may bounce between the 5 different pantries that are located within the city of Cabot. Stressing everyone's available resources, not only food, but receiving financial assistance as well, which is cash out of someone's pocket to pay their utility bills and rent. And there's nothing to stop them from going between the 5 different pantries. Currently, there's Host Closet Pantry, there's First Care at First Baptist Church, there's Cabot Church of Christ, there is Renewed Church, and then there's Cabot United Methodist Church, all who have pantries, who have different ministries, who have different outreaches in the community, and who all bring unique things to the table that we can use for our pantry and food clothing closet. Becoming a cohesive community coalition, the city's responsibility would provide our group the large enough building to have a huge food pantry and clothing area with projected office space for a satellite DHS office and possibly an office for the Central Arkansas Development Council. Having a DHS and CADC office would be a tremendous benefit to our community. Being forced to drive to Lone Oak to apply for SNAP, child support assistance, or Medicaid presents a hardship for those who are already stretched thin. And our people that will bear dividends in the human capital. Matthew 25:40 tells us, "Inasmuch as you have done it unto one of the least of these, my brethren, you have done it unto me."
It's supposed to be with your money, not with taxpayer funds.
I'm Kimberly Blackberger. I am the founder of Host Closet Pantry. I'm very emotional. I cry in everything I talk about Host because it's so dear to my heart. And I love my city very, very much. And this program that we're going to offer to our city, I think would be a great investment to serve our families very efficiently. Host Closet Pantry has grown tremendously. We are transplants from Louisiana. I was born and raised in Arkansas. Military, we traveled around different cities, different everywhere. And we retired here because when we moved here, it captured my heart. The people, the town, and I just loved it. So we stayed. And God gave me a vision in 2005 when I pulled into our brand new house in West Oak subdivision to start a pantry. And I did. And it grew. And now she's so large, I'm asking for help. I need a larger facility. Where I am now, Larry Odom gave an acre plan, and Pinnacle Structures donated the facility that I'm in now. It's 1,200 square feet plus 600 for the food pantry. So I'm working in that little bitty space, pushing out 35,000 pounds a month. That's a lot of food that we're pushing out. I did some statistics on Hope just so I can give y'all some numbers to kind of wrap your brain around, because I'm having a hard time with my brain around and I'm working every day. But last year, in 2019, we were pushing out 27,000 pounds a month. In January of 2020, so these are all on a year basis, we're now pushing out 37,000 pounds a month. We have increased by 50% of our food capacity through our pantry. And we just don't have the food pantry. That's not counting the food that we pick up through Feed America that I'm part of, Host Closet Pantry. I sit on the board of Feed America. And we pick up some food banks. We also pick up at Walmart 3 days a week. And that ranges from about 2,000 pounds on Monday, maybe 3,000 on Wednesday, maybe 1,000 on Friday. So these numbers are not counting that. And also it doesn't count Boxes of Hope that we do for Thanksgiving, where we service between 350 and 400 families for Thanksgiving. So these numbers are growing. Hope is growing, and we need the room. So I'm just hoping that we can work together with the city, figure something out. And I'm very appreciative for the mayor wanting to work with us. It really means a lot. The people love our city and they really want to invest in it. And the council agreed, you know, that y'all talk about this, and I always say pray, because I want to make sure that y'all pray for our city. To make it better, to richer in love and compassion. So, that's it. Any questions? I don't know if I'm supposed to ask that or not. I'm just
So you
asking.
can. Council, you have any questions
Any
for?
questions?
Thank you, Ms. Brad and Ms. Buckberger.
One quick point to clarify, there would not be any persons hired as city employees. This would be volunteer driven. It would be a volunteer director. For the pantry itself, the only thing that we're asking for, is for the city for space. We don't need the city to buy food, which we can't anyway. We have food coming in droves. We
So
don't need,
this is a food
the city
pantry
to
asking for
provide
space.
a lot of different things like
These
that.
lanes of
We already
churches
have
all
that
across
covered.
this state
It's
and
the
army
space. And something else
areas
too,
such as
Cabot Closet has
where they have
been
plenty of
a
space.
standard in this town for
But they're supporting a bond issue.
16 years, right? And has
Which is-
grown from her
which is what
garage
the city
into
did,
being a
because it's
4,000 or 5,000
space.
square foot building, which is amazing. But at the same time too, understanding this, that when we partner with the city, Hope's Closet would cease to exist. It would become a part of the city pantry. It'd become the basis of the city pantry. Right now, Kimberly didn't brag too much, but I can tell you that she also not only pushes out that much food in Hope's Closet, she also donates food to 3 of the 4 other pantries in town. Not to mention 7 schools for the backpack program where children go home with some canned goods and things like that for the weekend, macaroni and cheese, things like that, that can be cooked during the weekend. And then Hope's Closet also helps provide, keep going. Okay, there are other things that Hope's Closet Pantry also provides food for. For the men's house that was out Lewisburg Road called Harvest Home, where for men who in a hemp-free, drug-free home. She also provides food for that establishment as well. And so all of this would then come together to form the basis. We will have a discussion with the mayor, with a meeting with city, not only city leaders, but also too with our ministerial alliance and different groups coming together, businesses. Anyone who would like to participate, we will have a meeting next month or so to be able to sit down and hammer this out and see what this looks like and see who would like to participate. Our board of directors would also be all volunteer based, and every single church or business that participates in a material way on a monthly basis would have a voting member on the board of directors, so that it's not one church, it's not one organization, it's not one pantry. It is a citywide coalition, and that's what we're looking to build with the city of Cabot. We have a very unique company, and I hope that we get the chance to move forward.
Thank you once again. Thank you.
My name is Andy Owen. I've been on the last bond issue with Ed. And I think we all need to step back and take a look. Some of these things are really, really good ideas, and some of them maybe. But I think we all need to step back with the times as they are and look at the wants and the needs and see which one of those comes out best. We may not be able to get them all, but make sure that you're getting the needs of the city, not just the wants.
So what are we missing?
Well, I've not really paid that much attention, I just want to make sure that we're getting the needs. So I will look through that and.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, here we go.
completely agree. We should be addressing the needs of the city at this current moment, and guess what I'm gonna present to you tonight? Some needs of the city. So get excited. So let's kind of backtrack a bit. I'm gonna be speaking specifically on the Animal Support Center that was proposed alongside the host cause idea and the new issue of bondage. So I'm gonna kind of backtrack a bit, give a little backstory. Last time I wasn't as prepared as I am tonight, so get excited. So the perspective I'm bringing is specifically through the as NHS president, National Honor Society. So I work a lot over at the high school, making sure that we were instilling the mindset of service-oriented students throughout the Cabot community. I was tasked with making sure that we had volunteer programs constantly in effect over at the high school. And I'm going to say that the animal shelter was by far our best supporter of making sure we had these opportunities for students. But it wasn't just NHS that was utilizing these resources. It was also the Girl Scouts, who we heard from tonight. And there's many other people throughout the city that are using the animal shelter to make sure that we are building the leaders of tomorrow. So kind of moving beyond just my perspective, I want to make sure that I mention tonight that it's not just me voicing this opinion. I'm just a spokesperson tonight. I've talked to many people about this over the course of the past few weeks, and they all agree that this is a priority of Cabot. So this new bond basically ensures that we have an opportunity to expand what has become a staple of our community. A lot of people overlook what all the animal shelter is providing, so I'm going to kind of take you through some of the things that I think is often overlooked with the animal shelter. So they currently are offering 25 programs that are based in making sure that the Cabot community is that a community. For instance, I think we're all pretty familiar with the low-cost spay and neuter facilities that they offer our community. In fact, so many people are using that they've actually become backlogged because their current facility doesn't have enough space for them to constantly meet the demands of the Cabot constituents, a need of the city. Beyond that, if your pet is properly microchipped and licensed, the animal shelter services will actually return your animal with no impact fees. But let's say that, how did that dog die? How did that cat get away? Well, if an animal service person actually sees that you had a damaged fence, and they said that it was minor damage, they will actually pay to fix that. To make sure that your kids get to see their pets once more and you don't have this problem continuously happening. And another thing that was addressed in our last one hearing was the issue of senior citizens.
So you'll pay for it.
And that's someone that's worked both in the animal shelter and in the nursing home. I do understand this problem, but it's not that, don't take it out on the animal shelter. The animal shelter's work to address this problem, specifically through their program Golden Opportunity. Golden Opportunity works to combat the feelings of loneliness and isolation that many senior citizens are feeling within our community. They're facing symptoms of depression, anxiety, even physical health concerns such as high blood pressure, cholesterol, issues like that. Well, the animal shelter is actually working to make sure that these issues are put away by reducing and even giving free adoptions to the elder citizens of the Cabot community. So the animal shelter does understand that there's a problem with our senior citizens in this community, but they are working to fix that just as well. But like I said, we need to address the needs of our community, right? Well, these benefits that I just described to you are constantly being restricted due to the outdated facility that the current animal shelter is operating with. Specifically, their large animal intake, they're bringing in just under 3,400 animals with a 600 animal limit. I'm not good at math, but I'm pretty sure those numbers don't get together. And then, like I said, the aforementioned backup of the spay and neuter that is backlogging them for months has caused them to not offer the other veterinarian services to low-income families that they normally would be offering if they had the proper facility. So we're putting low-income families at risk by not giving them the facility that they need. Other programs such as education programs within our community are also being affected. The CAS Kids program and the CAS Connect program are both aimed at making sure that kids and young adults take proper education in the animal services facilities of Cabot. We're also having public safety issues if this facility is not properly updated. The current facility, if an animal with a behavioral issue comes in and they cannot properly quarantine them because they don't currently have a quarantine area, they have to put it in sectors where the public can access. That means the public is endangered in the event that they come through there And, you know, kids, they can stick their hand in a cage and something can happen. But it's simply because they don't have the resources to put it anywhere else. It's not because they want the kid to get hurt. So then it becomes a city issue that we have to make sure that these kids aren't getting hurt. So these can all be thought of as negatives if one wants to think that way, but it also can also be seen as the image of proof that the city is growing. Yeah, there's backlogging, but it's because your city is growing exponentially that so many people are wanting to use these facilities. So many people are demanding that they get proper treatment for their animals. So prior to the census that was just taken, Cabot came in 19 out of 540 cities in the state of Arkansas. So the days of the veteran community are over. And Cabot's moved past that, and it's time we start bringing in and ushering in new era.
1940 city.
And we see Cabot has the ability to stand out. Specifically through the work that Mike Wheeler, our animal service director, has been doing. Who here knows of New York City? Just raise your hand. You guys know New York? Yeah? Okay. Perhaps Los Angeles, Washington, D.C. Well, these are some major cities that are partners of Cabot. They're equivalent to us. But you're like, oh, but those are major population differences. No, yes, they are, but they're all part of the Tier 1 Animal Shelter Program, which our animal service director, Mike Wheeler, has gotten this recognition for nationwide. So if we're getting all this national recognition, why would we stop getting our recognition, bringing people to our city through this? In fact, even among these cities, Cabot's a standout because we have a less than 0.1% euthanasia rate, which is due to the dedication and hard work of our animal service workers. So we need to make sure that we're providing the resources to keep us at the nationally recognized rate. Mr. Mayor, how many would you say Cabot has a current population of?
Hoping 30,000. We don't know yet.
Roughly 30,000. The next nearest city population is nearly 500,000 people. So if we are that small and we're getting nationally recognized, why would we not continue funding what's
Recognized by who?
So kind of moving forward, the animal shelter is not just an animal shelter. You know, this is a community center. So we heard tonight that we're going to have an opportunity to expand the food pantry, which would be astronomical to help our low-income families and families that are in dire need of help. We're also going to get a chance to boost education within Cabot, which we all know Cabot is known for its education. So we need to continue to bolster that. But probably the most important thing with this facility is the vet tech training and internship program. Specifically, EVS offers a 2-year education, but there's no local internships in these schools to get the real experience that they should be getting. Instead, we're seeing these people flee to other areas and then stay there after they graduate from the internships. Ultimately, we are able to erect this facility, we'll draw those people back to Cabot and continue our proud education. I like to call it the comeback feature. You know, I talk time and time again about there's nothing to come back to, but this provides something for them to come back to, something for students to work towards.
Let me set this down.
Overall, it's important to know that the youth of Cabot will have something finally to come back to. I like to talk about youth a lot, so I'll keep that short, but the Cabot High School offers a lot of tracks. Education track. There's a lot of different tracks within our high school, but there's no vet track. And I think we've all had that moment with our pets where we're like, oh, yes, I think I might want to become a vet. But then it fizzles out because there's no one there to really push. Well, this facility would offer that push. Moreover, there's actually no vet track in the state of Arkansas. So, once again, you have to put Cabot at the forefront of the national stage. Who doesn't want our city to be recognized as the first one? Just some final closing thoughts. I want to make sure that this gets on ballot. Let's make sure that we know that Cabot legislators have the option to vote on it. With the new changes that have arisen since the last hearing, it's important that we know that it's not just helping the animals. We're going to have an amazing opportunity to help our lower income families through the food closet, or host closet, and then the mention of a coffee shop. Now, I don't know if you guys know about the young generation, but we love to go to a coffee shop to study, and this is going to basically give economic boost to our city. We're going to go there to study, we're going to get coffee, we'll stay there for a couple of hours, who knows how many coffee drinks we're going to have. So overall, I think it's a really good benefit for our city, and plus you all ran on.
You should actually know that before you
Platform
$millions
built
of dollars
into
in a coffee shop.
buildings in Cabot. This is one of those opportunities to fill out a campaign promise, and I know a lot of you are probably going to run for re-election, and this is very important for them. So therefore, you should vote for this. Thank you.
Any other needs? I know I asked Ms. Gillum if she had any other needs. Any others besides what we have?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Council.
If anybody does want to talk tonight, and there is a need, you think, please call City Hall and let us know, so we can put it on here and consider it.
Okay, finally.
As you all know, I'm Rhonda McCall. I live at 18 River Drive. I spoke with y'all at the last meeting about this bond, and I'm gonna ask y'all one more time if y'all would go back and revamp this. Again, I do not see, I know this gentleman has stood up here for 15 minutes really pushing this animal shelter. And I asked last month, why can we not add on to what we have rather than building a $7 million building?
Have you been through it?
Yes, I have been to
There's
it.
no room for it. There's no room.
There is room that can be added on to that.
No arguing back and forth. Please.
You tell me yourself that you would look at it and.
We did, we reduced it 3.9 million. That's what it is on the deal, from 7 million to 3.9.
So are you talking about still building a brand new building
No, we said we'd buy the prosecutor building.
and put the animal shelter in there?
Mhm.
Okay, I could not hear you all the way back at the back.
I'm sorry, but yes,
It seems like I agree with Ann Gillum on this. It seems like we've got a lot of more needs on here. I mean, you know, that are not being met. For instance, there's housing additions here in Cabot. The one that I live in, it's a sinkhole. A total sinkhole. Last year, 5 of my neighbors, luckily mine was already finished, 5 of my neighbors had to redo their foundation because the water drainage is so bad. You know, why can't we look at things like that before we look at these other things?
we are, it's on here, road repairs and drainage work.
But that I looked at your list
Okay.
that you gave, nowhere on there is this housing addition over here.
You
No.
didn't
And
tell
it's
me,
in bad shape. I've had 2 council members out there.
you haven't told me, so I can get with street department and half engineers that's in the back and let them look at it. Which one does it need to be? Which area? West Oaks?
Yes, the entire housing addition.
Half, could you put that on there, please?
Are you speaking with Joe?
I'm speaking with half engineers back there.
You know, there's other areas also that are in the same shape, you know? We've got other things that need to be taken care of, so I don't understand why they're not being looked at before we do these things that we want. You know, I know you're pushing, it's very obvious, I know you're pushing 100% for all of this bond. We don't need all of this bond.
The voters decide.
I understand the voters decide. But I understand also, and all of us do, that you influence a lot.
I influence how you vote?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, I'm just asking you guys to go back and just look at it. I don't see that we need this big bond. I don't see the need in putting Cabot in debt.
Hello?
Well, I should really agree with them, and I think that this new part of the animal shelter is a great idea. I remember when I was in elementary school, the animal shelter had our competition, and It definitely brought our school together, and I think this fund is a great way to build our community and help it get better and stronger together and not tear apart. I think it does need an upgrade. There are many problems which, there are pros and cons to everything, but this fund is definitely, the positives outweigh the negatives. And it has a great, feel to it, and I think it's not going to be top priority. It definitely should not be, because there are lots of needs, and, but I think it should be in there. So I just wanted to say that.
Would it make you want to stay in Cabot?
Because, I love Cabot, and I've been here my whole life, and I've seen the animal shelter. It's been there my whole life, but there's definitely not room to add on to it, and I think that this new thing is great. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you, Reagan. Anyone else? Council?
Mr. Mayor, I got a question.
Sure.
When we discuss this and decide what to put on the ballot, will the council get a line item vote for each item, or is it just offered together?
Ben, I think it's just one vote, isn't it?
It is one vote for the council to put on the ballot. It's the ballot issue for the council.
You're just say yes or no that you want a bond election.
I may have misunderstood what Brandon said. I think what Brandon was asking is the council gonna have any input on items that go on the ballot? I believe it's.
Council just gonna be able to say yes or no. Do they want a bond issue or not? Because the people vote for the bond issue.
We understand that. Right? The question is if the council would like to remove an item off the list that you provide and let opportunity be provided to us to do that.
I think we can do that. We can just do a vote. If it's majority to remove it, we remove it, right?
Yes, when you send up to the ballot, it'll be one thing, but the council by majority vote can change that how desire.
Yeah, if the council wants to vote on each item and have their vote placed in public, if they wanted the item on there or not, I don't have an issue with that. I think it's perfect.
I may be wrong, but I think that's what Brandon's question was.
Okay.
It was on there was.
That's great.
Basically, do we have a line item veto of the items that are going on the ballot? We all understand that we gotta make a unanimous vote to make the ballot question for the people to vote on. But what about the items? Are they gonna come to us and we gotta accept it as all or none? Or do we have an opportunity to be able to revise it?
I would think you have input on whether to put it on there or not.
You would think.
I mean, that ought to be fair.
Yes, no, that can certainly be done, but my policy was, there's going to be one thing that gets referred to the voter, that's how it works. You can have a vote for each of these individual items, and most, yes, absolutely. Yeah, but I think that we had to remove, there was one package that's important.
Well, then I guess it, based on administration of this deal, I'll just have to talk to Stevens in Friday, and maybe on the 29th, we need to call a special meeting because they need to have how the ballot's gonna look for y'all to say yes or no. So we need to have y'all vote before then, so they have time to prepare the ballot.
That's where I was gonna try to, Brandon, I wasn't trying to step on your toes, please. I apologize for doing that, but I thought that's where you were coming from, which would require an additional meeting in there, a formal meeting in there that we do not have scheduled right now.
Correct.
It would be tough to do that on April the 5th, come up with the ballot issues and then vote on the ballot to be presented at that time. So it looks to me like we're gonna have another meeting in there. And I believe the 29th, a formal meeting at that point to formalize the issues, I think would be good.
Okay, would you like to have that after the town hall?
Absolutely.
Okay. We will do it. Okay. Good meeting. Anyone else from council have any other items? Anyone else from the audience?
You can speak. You can go back up there. You spoke once.
I would just like to say, I'm in favor of what you proposed. It's not raising any taxes, so just the internet alone will boost and pay for itself. So it will be self-payable from that growth that you'll have from the city. So I'm all in favor of this. Let's get Cabot growing. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn? I don't really have to do that, but all in favor, say aye. All right, thanks, everybody. See you on the 29th.
Folks, that was the Cabot meeting. I'm going to try to do these right now. I'm going to go ahead and shut this off. We'll talk more about this. Basically, several $1 million going to different projects. Some of it is legitimate, like releasing fire and drainage, but a lot of it is on wasteful things like a wave pool, some kind of big community center like the one they have in Cape Girardeau, and an animal shelter. Supposedly it was $7 million, and now they've reduced it to $3.5 million. That is a lot of money for an animal shelter. So, and then now they have to re-meet because they're not sure what can be added on by the city council. But anyway, I'm going to try to do some interviews real quick and then talk to some other folks later on. Y'all like, share, and comment on this. I'll post some more information about it later on here on YouTube and on Facebook. You can follow me on Keep Arkansas Legal, YouTube, Gab, Parlor, MeWe, and so forth. That's it.